weekend, at a posh mall in Delhi, I saw a minister from the Modi government come in with a loud siren blaring on an escort motorcycle that was accompanying his fairly long convoy. We then sent out our reporters all across the country to do a reality check. Was this a one-off, or was this something that's happening again and again? Now remember, just a few weeks ago, Prime Minister Modi had ordered that Lal battis would go off VVIP cars. There were to be very few exceptions. The Prime Minister also couldn't have a Lal batti. Well, turning off Lal battis, it seems, is not that simple, because what you've done is passed an order, but the mindset still is the same. Despite the Modi government trying to end India's Lal batti culture, VVIP arrogance continues unabated. Sit back and watch as we bring you this nationwide reality check, which shows how Netas are simply unwilling to let go of that Lal batti culture, even though it's sirens that have become the new Lal batti. This is an India Today exclusive. From the western Gujarat, north in Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh in central India, up in the mountains of Uttarakhand, to West Bengal in eastern India. Our VIPs refuse to let go of their chronic addiction, flaunting their status by hook as blatantly as seen here, or by crook as witnessed here. Our VIP's intent throughout the country remains the same: announcing his or her arrival, flashing red lights, deafening sirens, hundreds of meters long motorcades. Signs of the fabled VIP culture in the world's largest democracy. In April, the Modi government moved to cool off this lightning rod for public disgust.
पहली मई से कोई भी व्यक्ति देश में और कोई भी व्हीकल देश में रेड लाइट नहीं कैरी कर पाएगा।
ये जो है वीवीआईपी कल्चर को रिप्रेजेंट करता था, और हमारी सरकार ने प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में निर्णय किया है कि हम सादगीपूर्ण व्यवहार करें।
Restricting red roof lights and sirens only on emergency services to cut through busy roads. But attitudes die hard. India Today's nationwide reality check shows how the powerful are cold-shouldering the abolition of red lights. Some central ministers included, a number of VIPs have invented new ways to show off their position. In Prime Minister Narendra Modi's home state of Gujarat, this is the motorcade of Purushottam Khodabhai Rupala, a central minister of state. His car had no Lal batti on its top, but the mobile security apparatus moving with him is sufficient to draw public attention to his elitist status. The scene is no different in Vadodara. This long cavalcade belongs to Union Minister of State for Shipping, Mansukh Mandavia. When confronted, the minister referred to some intelligence bureau inputs to defend the paraphernalia around him.
लाल लाइट हटा के जो आम आदमी और जो सामान्य व्यक्ति रोड पर जाते वैसे ही हमें जाना है। हमको जो सुरक्षा सरकार ने उपलब्ध कराई है वही सुरक्षा से हम चलते हैं।
Here arrives a minister in Yogi Adityanath's government. State Minister Rajendra Pratap Singh making his way to a public event in Chandauli. Blaring sirens and police security declare him arrived. With a guard behind covering his head from the sweltering sun, this is how he downplayed it all.
मैं जिस गाड़ी पे हूँ मंत्री की वही गाड़ी है। न मेरी गाड़ी में हूटर है, न मेरी गाड़ी में बत्ती है, न लाल लश्कर है। और आप हमारे आगे पीछे अगर चलें, मुझसे स्नेह रखें, तो एक व्यवस्था का ही अंग है। इसमें इसको बहुत अन्यथा भी नहीं लेना चाहिए।
If you want to see VIP culture in totality in Uttar Pradesh, watch this caravan of the Yogi government. Siren mounted cars of MLAs, ministers in the CM's own motorcade. The state of affairs in Madhya Pradesh. An open display of power and status. And this is how State Agriculture Minister Gauri Shankar Bisen defended these signs.
एक दृष्टि से सब लोग दिखे, इसलिए जो लाल बत्ती थी उसको विड्रा करने का है। हूटर तो यदि हम नहीं बजाएंगे तो कैसे कैसे पहुंचेंगे।
In neighbouring Uttarakhand, car-mounted sirens seem to be more of a norm than an exception. Take a look at these images, seen at the state capital of Dehradun. You saw VIPs circumventing the central ban on red beacons. In West Bengal, though, it's an open defiance. Some of the powerful figures here have refused to let go of their privileged Lal battis. State Minister Shanti Ram Mahato is one of them.
শুনুন, লাল বাতিটা তো কোনো ব্যাপার নয়, আমাদের কাছে লাল বাতিটা কোনো ব্যাপার না। কিন্তু লাল বাতির ব্যবহারের ব্যাপারটা আমাদের রাজ্য সরকারের ইনস্ট্রাকশন যেমন আছে আমরা সেভাবেই করব।
Even a Zilla Parishad chief is carrying the flashing symbol of power on the roof of her car. Clearly, attitude fuels our VIP culture much more than anything else. Pulling the plug on red beacons seems to be just a gesture for public consumption. This is the India Today Special Investigation Team. The batti is off, but the siren is on. The VVIP culture continues unabated. Netas clearly giving a hoot to Modi's beacon ban. Joining me on the newsroom showdown against VVIP arrogance, representing the BJP tonight, Sudhanshu Mittal, representing the Trinamool Congress. And remember, it's the Trinamool whose leaders have been most openly defiant. We've got Madan Mitra, senior leader of the TMC. With us also on this broadcast is well-known social activist Arun Bhatia. Harish Bijur joins us from Bengaluru. I want to go across to Sudhanshu Mittal first. Now I want to play out the reaction, Sudhanshu, of Rajendra Pratap Singh, Minister for Rural Engineering in Uttar Pradesh. Listen to what he says. This is the most farcical explanation we will get to hear for what's happening. मेरी गाड़ी में लाल बत्ती नहीं, अब आगे पीछे कोई इसलिए से खड़े हो जाए this loud siren के साथ, then that's not my fault. Listen to the minister from your party before I ask you my first question.
मैं जिस गाड़ी पे हूँ मंत्री की वही गाड़ी है। न मेरी गाड़ी में हूटर है, न मेरी गाड़ी में बत्ती है, न लाल लश्कर है। और आप हमारे आगे पीछे अगर चलें, मुझसे स्नेह रखें, तो एक व्यवस्था का ही अंग है। इसमें इसको बहुत अन्यथा भी नहीं लेना चाहिए।
व्यवस्था का अंग है, it's part of the system. अन्यथा नहीं लेना चाहिए. Don't mind, don't take offense. Sudhanshu Mittal, I thought this is the system, this is the Lal batti culture that Prime Minister Modi was trying to change. And on the ground, BJP ministers, whether they are central ministers or state ministers, don't seem to care so much about his Lal batti ban. They're giving him a hoot, quite literally.
I guess the Lal batti culture has been prevalent for so long that old habits die hard. People do try and circumvent the good intention of the central government on this issue, that let everybody be a commoner and not be a VVIP or a VIP. So to that extent, nobody can agree with the way the things are being circumvented. I have one personal satisfaction, at least none of the BJP ministers had the red beacon, which would have been an open defiance to the law we've passed. But this expose of yours, for which I like to compliment you, does bring out another form of it. That though the red beacons are not there, now the hooters are there. Incidentally, the hooters are in the vehicles of police escorts. Now this is one direction which I think would have to be passed to the police, that while escorting a VVIP or a VIP, they will not use these beacons.
Harish Bijur, do you buy any of this?
And I think that will
coming and
restore
congratulating
sanity.
us is just the easiest thing to do. You know, we're a crack team of reporters. It's our job to go out and get good stories. But the problem here, Harish Bijur, is far more pervasive. You got a bunch of netas who've been told by the Prime Minister, turn off the Lal battis. And you just saw that minister in Uttar Pradesh, he says, मेरी गाड़ी में लाल बत्ती नहीं, अब आगे पीछे अगर hooter लेके चल रहे, isn't the hooter the new Lal batti? This is what you promised to end. It hasn't ended, Harish Bijur.
Well, let me put it this way. I mean, trust the political class to find a loophole. And I think that's exactly what's happening. Prime Minister Modi's initiative was an excellent one in the sense of, banning the red light and the yellow light and the blue light on top of these cars. But our political class is very clever. I think, the light, if there is no light, let there be sound. That seems to be the attitude at this point of time. And I think, the loophole has been used very well. If you ask me, power is an aphrodisiac for sure. And I think the hooter and the Lal batti is part of the political mojo that is actually used by politicians. And it's secular across parties.
That's a good one, Harish Bijur. That's a good one. You put it really well. If there's no light, let there be power. Sudhanshu Mittal, just by saying that we're trying to do this, and if mindsets aren't changing, it'll take time. That's not enough. A very strong message needs to go out from the Modi government to these ministers who've been exposed by India Today and to others, that this is not okay. If the Lal batti is gone, you can't replace it with a siren. Lights out, sound on.
Rahul, let's also get familiarized with the system that the escorts which are going to be there for any person are not controlled by the political entities themselves. But I'm not getting into that. The hooter is not something which should be acceptable. Period. Now, if the law needs to get amended, I am not aware of the exact position of law on this issue. But if it needs to be amended, I am sure Mr. Gadkari, who is very committed to ending this Lal batti culture,
You don't know the law, let me read the law to you.
Will make amends to the law.
And Arun Bhatia has been a part of the system. He understands how this functions. Let me read to you section 119 of the Central Motor Vehicle Rules. It does not provide for the use of siren or hooter in any vehicle. Exceptions are made for ambulances, fire brigades, construction equipment vehicle, besides those used by the police. Section 1192 of the Central Motor Vehicle Rule says no motor vehicle shall be fitted with any multi-toned horn giving a succession of different notes with any other sound producing device giving an unduly harsh, shrill, loud and alarming noise. Arun Bhatia, can our netas get away by saying that the Lal batti is not on the neta's car? Now if the police, and the police is allowed to run a hooter, if the police has a hooter, why blame the neta? Arun Bhatia.
Yes, sir. Actually, it makes no sense at all. The neta shouldn't have the lights, nor should the police. This is just one way of, breaking the rule. The police need to be empowered to suspend the license for 3 months. of any car owner that uses these devices, either the horn or the light. That's the only way to implement it. And it's sad because the Prime Minister is going ahead and trying to do something good, and he's being held back by his own people. He's being deflected into banning cow slaughter. Now he says something good about banning horns, and they are openly violating this rule. Why is the police not acting? Commissioners of police in all urban areas should be given directions that this has to be done. If it's not done, you take action against the police.
I can understand this, Sudhanshu Mittal, if this was done in an emergency. Let's assume you got a desperate call, there's a fire, somebody's been murdered, somebody's dying, the police needs to rush in, you turn the hooter on, the citizens of India will support you. There is some Neta who doesn't want to get stuck in traffic like the rest of us, and therefore he says turn the hooter on, gaadi ka convoy thoda tez chalega. That's not okay. A message needs to go out that Netas can't get away by saying that this is bandobast, this is the system. That's the system Prime Minister Modi and the BJP claims it wants to change. Sudhanshu.
Rahul, first you have contradicted your own self when you read out the clause. The clause itself provides for a police vehicle to have a hooter.
Yeah, come on, Sudhanshu,
So
yes. But is the police vehicle supposed to have a hooter when it is escorting a VIP from the hotel, to the airport, or from the hotel from the airport? No, 1 second. We are not contradicting each other. I read out in total fairness the full law to you. If there is, what was this made for? This was made for police emergencies. If there's somebody who's dying on the road, you need to rush over there. By all means, rush with your siren blaring. That's perfectly okay. But not when you're taking some Neta from the airport to the hotel, or the hotel to the airport. He's going to some function. He wants his vehicle to move faster. Therefore, you get the lights blaring. One minister I saw with my own eyes was going to watch a movie. And he came into the mall with his convoy blaring. There's a motorcycle in front blaring siren on his vehicle. He was coming to watch a movie. This is not an emergency. This is not what this clause is meant for.
Can I speak now? I am sure you'll allow me to put this. I had at the very onset said if the law needs to be amended, I'm sure he will do it. Because today, as the law stands, it supports what is happening. I am myself saying that is not the right thing. I am saying if there is an inadequacy in the law, that law must be amended, and I am sure Nitin Gadkari would be amending it. And then you're trying to put me in the dock. I mean, I don't understand this. Yes.
The biggest defect, at least to the BJP,
a hooter
you can give so much credit that, okay, 1 second. You can give them credit that the Prime Minister tried to bring about significant change by ordering that bans would be turned off. That goes to his credit. You've got the BJP spokesperson on the show saying there seems to be some loopholes in the law. He's saying India Today has exposed it. We will try and fix the loophole as well. The Trinamool, on the other hand, Mr. Mitra, seems to be openly defined. We've got images of Trinamool leaders, Shanti Ram Mahato, the minister in West Bengal, Uttara Hazra. He's from West Midnapur in West Bengal, again with the government. They're openly going around with the hooters on. Some of them haven't even taken off the Lal batti. They say, "Hame nahi utarni Lal batti." We don't know anything about it. Mamta has not told us to remove the Lal batti. This is a law that applies to all.
Yes. Should I speak now?
Yes, Mr. Mitra, you must.
Should I speak out?
Absolutely.
To be very frank to you, so far myself is concerned, I personally feel that this is a weak stunt, a gimmick from the central government. Because to avoid Lal batti and to avoid red tapeism, the pioneer was Miss Mamta Banerjee. When she was rail minister, when she started her career as the youth minister, she avoided red light and hooter during the total tenure of her ministry. Even when she became the chief minister, she never used a red light on her car or used any sort of sound, any exceptional sound or any hooter. And as a transport minister at that time, in 12, 13 and 14, 2000,
let's leave history.
I also never
let's leave
used
history.
any red light or
One
hooter
second.
on my car.
Let's leave history on the side. Also, I'm glad you're saying personally you're not in favor of sirens. We've got on camera ministers of the Trinamool government in West Bengal with their sirens blaring. That's one part of the problem. The Lal battis, which have been taken off in other states, are still present on the vehicles of several ministers in your government. That is a reality. Let's deal with the present. What Mamata Banerjee said when she was entering politics or just became a minister is immaterial to our conversation just now.
Please listen to me. Since I am not the spokesman of Trinamool Congress, I can't agree to your stand, but I strongly feel when I was the transport minister, there was an order from the Calcutta High Court that the Department of Transport Ministry, they will decide who will be eligible for red light and hooters and who will be not. So we had that time decided only the cabinet ministers and governors and honorable judges, they will get red light, and all the other state ministers,
on this broadcast,
including the police commissioner,
we're seeing them press all the right buttons, that the law must be changed, the mindset must change. These are good things to be said on national TV. But when it comes to taking calls on the ground, you know, that little bit of benefit that you'd get by having a siren blaring. You know, we saw several ministers tell us, you know, we get stuck in jams, we've got so many back-to-back meetings to attend, it's very difficult moving from one place to another. The siren helps us move. That's the way they think. Naturally, when pressed on TV, they will press the right buttons and say all the right things. But that mindset is not what's changing, Mr. Bhatia.
Our face is the main thing.
Sir, the law doesn't need any change. These are exceptions. That certain vehicles can have lights and sirens. These are to be used in an emergency for riot control, etc. Police vehicles can also take sirens. Not every vehicle, when the minister goes to attend a wedding, he doesn't have to have sirens and lights. So actually the law is there, it's not being implemented. Now one gentleman said something about the Trinamool Congress that they were pioneers. We're not discussing here which party was a pioneer and which was not. Let's do it now. Why are you not doing it now?
Absolutely. Arun Bhatia, Harish Bijur is asking absolutely correct questions, because Sudhanshu Mittal cites the law which I read out to him and says police is allowed to have sirens, but no one would have envisioned when the central motor vehicles rules would have been written down that this would be to take netas from airports to hotels, from hotels to weddings, or for some sarkari program. If there is a police emergency, having the sirens on at that time is reasonable. Having it on for no reason, just so that netas get way and are able to move faster during a traffic situation, that's not okay, Mr. Bijur.
Absolutely. You know, if you really look at it, I think, you know, the political class wants to use it, wants to use a loophole. I think Mr. Modi's intent is perfect. But then, you know, nobody is following up on the intent. You know, one is looking at the loopholes to do this and that. But between you and me, Rahul, I would simply say that, you know, light is better than sound and noise. You know, there are two kinds of pollution on the streets. One is light pollution with the lal battis, which used to go off. That's much more bearable than the sound pollution that these screechers and hooters are coming about. And I don't know, tomorrow there might be a hierarchy of hooters, depending how big a politician is or how small a politician is.
I heard on this Netas cavalcade blaring in my ear. I can sense it. I can't obviously hear it, but I can sense it even now. That's how loud and jarring it was. Everyone standing at the porch in that area, very angry and upset with the fact that lal battis have been turned off, but these hooters are the new lal battis. It shows that the mindset isn't changing. You have to give the Prime Minister credit for having made an effort, but he needs to push this through. You can't allow netas in their typical fashion to find jugaad solutions. Let's see how the government and the BJP react to our story. Many of those who are featuring in this report tonight are members of the BJP. Sudhanshu Mittal, Madan Mitra, Arun Bhatia, Harish Bijur for joining us tonight. Thank you very much. We've got breaking news coming in. I hold in my hands an FIR, a first information report filed by the National Investigation Agency. This is under section 154 of the CRPC. Credible information has been received by the central government that Hafiz Mohammad Saeed, Amir of the Jamaat-ud-Dawa, and the secessionist and separatist leaders, including members of the Hurriyat Conference, have been acting in connivance with active militants of the Hizbul Mujahideen, the Duktaran-e-Millat, the Lashkar-e-Taiba. So Sayyid Salauddin, Asiya Andrabi, Hafiz Saeed, working in concert with Hurriyat conference leaders like Syed Ali Shah Gilani. This is a direct fallout of the India Today expose, the Hurriyat truth tapes. Yet another FIR, yet another big impact. I want to go across to Kamaljeet Sandhu. She covers internal security for us. Kamaljeet, the NIA continuing its crusade against the Hurriyat conference, acting on the Hurriyat truth tapes. They filed this FIR, and I just want to play out for our viewers one small excerpt before I go to Kamaljeet of what Naeem Khan says in the India Today investigation, the Hurriyat truth tapes. Because you'd remember from the expose we've been playing for the past 3 weeks, you've got Hurriyat leaders explain the link between Hafiz Saeed and Syed Ali Shah Gilani. That's the angle, Kamaljeet, that was being probed by the NIA, and now they've come out, filed this FIR, suggesting very strongly that they have evidence to believe that Hafiz Saeed, Syed Ali Shah Gilani, Syed Salahuddin, all of them act in concert.
Well, absolutely, Rahul. As far as this entire FIR is concerned, remember the complainant itself is Ministries of Home Affairs, Internal Security Division. The FIR was filed at around 3 o'clock on 30th of May. What is also important is that there has been continuous investigation and raids which have been carried out. Money has been recovered. Letterheads of Hizbul Mujahideen, Lashkar-e-Taiba have been recovered from the houses of separatists. They've been called in continuously for questioning in Srinagar and even in Delhi. What we've been declare that people with the roles of Asiya Andrabi of Duktarane Millat has now come under close scrutiny of the NIA. Intelligence sources also pointing out that they are looking into the role about how money was received by Asiya Andrabi and her organization from Hafiz Saeed, the Lashkar-e-Taiba Amir. And the fact is that he has 5 to 6 ringleaders who were then sent to different schools and colleges to get women, provoke students, especially girl children, to come out and do stone pelting. Many say they will also be examining videos which are being actually telecast by news channels, where they will be examining very closely as to who these suspects are, who could be behind the turmoil. But what is important is, at this point of time, the entire link, the cross-border funding under scrutiny of the NIA and obviously pressure on the separatists, they have called this a witch hunt by the government. But the NIA
sources about when the arrests will happen, because given the kind of charges that have been leveled, section 120B, criminal conspiracy, 120A, 121, 121A, then you've got the Prevention of Unlawful Activities Act. So these are very, very serious charges. By when do you think the NIA will move in with the next step? These FIRs being lodged, we're told that several of these Hurriyat leaders could be arrested as well. When is that likely to happen?
Well, Rahul, there is scrutiny of document, and what is preventing the NIA from taking the first step to arrest is that they need to build a watertight case, because sources tell us that if any of the Hurriyat leaders approach the court that there is some sort of harassment, and if evidence is called to the court even before they can start joining the dots or the links, that would add more trouble and perhaps give relief to separatists. So they want to build a watertight case. They're not ruling out any arrest. They're obviously beginning from people who are using the Hawala fund route. They're looking at businessmen with links. These are the people. So obviously, before they go for the big guns, they want to investigate people and join the dots together, whether it's a stone pelter, whether this is about funding from cross-border or even the Lashkar-e-Taiba.
With us, I want to go across now, live to Kazakhstan. Gaurav Sawant, editor for Strategic Affairs, is joining me now from Astana. This is where the Shanghai Cooperation Organization meeting is going to happen. Prime Minister Modi and Nawaz Sharif will be in the same city at the same time. No meeting is scheduled, but Gaurav, I want to understand this India Today expose setting the news agenda, the Hurriyat truth tapes. Now the NIA lodging an FIR which directly links the Hafiz Saeed-led Lashkar-e-Taiba with characters like Asiya Andrabi and Syed Ali Shah Gilani. These are Pakistani puppets who are being unmasked just before Prime Minister Modi and Nawaz Sharif are in the same physical space.
Oh, absolutely, Rahul. India has adopted a tough posture. And External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj set the tone by saying, one, India wants dialogue with Pakistan, but in a terror-free environment. And Rahul, what's extremely significant, that there are only two parties to this dialogue, India and Pakistan. So no third party, no Hurriyat conference. That's something that is extremely, extremely clear. India has also set the tone in terms of just before this Shanghai Cooperation Organization meet, Pakistan sent in Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorists to launch an attack on an Indian CRPF camp, where the aim was to set the camp on fire, quite like Uri, if you'd recall, Rahul. So again, the effort from Pakistan's side is to fuel more unrest, to fuel more terror. India setting the tone by saying, we'll talk to Pakistan when Pakistan is willing to talk in a terror-free environment, Rahul.
What will emerge, if at all, Nawaz Sharif and Modi were to come face to face? But I like the jacket that you're wearing, and I like the fact that you're in these cooler climes, Gaurav. You've left us in the sweltering heat of Delhi and taken off to Kazakhstan. Gaurav Sawant will be reporting live all through the next couple of days on this big meeting in Kazakhstan. His coverage you can watch all through the next 2 days on India Today. Let's shift our attention now to a very disturbing story. Farmers up in protest against the government in many states, most of them BJP-ruled states. 5 farmers were killed in Mandsaur in Madhya Pradesh. Now the government says they were protesters, they were not farmers, but they were protesting, and there was police firing that happened. A report has been asked for. But what's very disturbing is that because the Yogi Adityanath government in Uttar Pradesh gave this huge farmer loan write-off, farmers in states like Maharashtra, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh are also demanding that they be given a write-off as well. They're also asking for better irrigation facilities, they're asking for higher MSPs. Farmers seem to be very, very outraged, and it's likely to get worse. Here's the full story.
Farmers' protest in Madhya Pradesh takes a tragic turn. On strike for nearly 1 week now, protesters in Mandsaur had to brave bullets on Tuesday for voicing their demands for a loan waiver and a fair price for their produce. Over 4 people are dead, but the man in charge of police, the State Home Minister, has outrightly denied any firing. His leader, Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan, chose to blame the Congress for the tragedy.
कांग्रेस ने षड्यंत्र के तहत इस आंदोलन को हिंसात्मक.
The situation remained tense in Maharashtra as well. In Nashik, at least 2 farmers committed suicide, while protests continued in other districts. The demands of the agitating farmers in Maharashtra include complete loan waiver, minimum support price for milk, implementation of Swaminathan Commission, and par tariff for farmers to be restructured.
राज्य सरकार ने ये तय किया है, और मैंने इससे पहले भी बताया, 31 अक्टूबर से पहले जिन किसानों को आवश्यकता है, जो डिस्ट्रेस में है, उन किसानों को ऋण माफी राज्य सरकार देगा. महाराष्ट्र के इतिहास की सबसे बड़ी ऋण माफी ये होगी.
The demand is that the loan waiver should be for the entire farming community. You can't distinguish between a small farmer and a bigger farmer. The waiver should be for everybody.
Vegetable prices have considerably risen due to the continuing agitation.
पहले हम लोग 40 रुपए किलो तक बेचते थे रिटेल में, अभी हम लोग को 60 रुपए 80 रुपए तक बेचना पड़ रहा है.
In Gujarat, potatoes have become a curse for farmers who are now demanding a minimum support price for their crop. They also want better cold storage facilities. 3 states, all ruled by the BJP, are facing massive protests by farmers. They are demanding farm loan waivers similar to the one announced by Yogi Adityanath government in Uttar Pradesh. With Himendra Sharma in Madhya Pradesh, Kamlesh Sutar and Mayuresh in Mumbai, and Gopi in Gujarat, Bureau Report, India Today.
Very, very disturbing this. The farmers are now planning on intensifying their protest tomorrow. Shivraj Chauhan, for his part, is saying that he's going out of his way to try and meet the demands of farmers and see how they can be placated. But essentially, you can't take away the fact that this farmer loan write-off is just a bad idea. You write off, it's politically convenient. So Netas indulge in such populism, writing off loans, and now they're having to deal with cascading consequences and clearly are having a tough time. Let's shift our attention to the beef wars. The BJP trying to push in a direction where it becomes tougher for illegal slaughter, but it seems there's some opposition from within the party itself. The second leader now in the northeast of the BJP has decided to walk out because he says the party is trying to impose a certain kind of food on the entire country. Here's the story.
I quit and resign from the party for dishonoring my culture and traditional practices. BJP is anti-Christian and anti-Garo. If they say it is an equality against all animals, then stop using cows to harvest in paddy field. Why every time cow? Why not other animals too?
Bachu Marak, the BJP's North Garo Hills district president of Meghalaya, making it clear that political alignment cannot bridge the cultural divide within the BJP. Invariably, beef once again has proven to be a stumbling block for the BJP's Look East policy. As he put in his papers, Marak's contention was clear. BJP's crackdown on cattle for slaughter was against his culture. But Marak is not the first leader of the BJP in Meghalaya to raise a red flag against the party's alleged cultural imperialism. Bernard Marak, the BJP's West Garo Hills district president, had quit the party earlier this month. When tendering his resignation, Bernard said, as the centre cracks down on cow slaughter, its policy of protecting the cow in the northeast has only seen a series of flip-flops. The holy cow is now proving to be the nemesis for the BJP when it comes to its political ambitions in the northeast. Not just union ministers from the area, the centre too has time and again tried to placate its northeast vote bank by assuring that only states can decide on a beef ban. A look at the beef-eating population in the northeast and the message is clear. Any attempt to impose a ban in these states will only hamper the BJP's electoral prospects. As the centre attempts to make the northeast its focus of its third year in power, the message from the area is clear. Building bridges, toppling local governments aside, any attempt to homogenize local culture will not be met with an olive branch.
Within a fortnight of Prime Minister Narendra Modi visiting Northeast and reiterating how important the zone was for the central government, there are BJP party leaders who are resigning now. With the district leaders putting in their papers over the beef ban in the entire zone, this of course comes as a big setback for the East dreams of the party in days to come. With Aditya Pradhan in Meghalaya, this is Manogya Loiwal in Kolkata for India Today.
Welcome back. You're with us on the newsroom. Last night on the newsroom, we brought you Operation Romeo. We showed you how some of the anti-Romeo squads of the Uttar Pradesh police are turned into extortion gangs, willing to lodge false cases, lock up people in prison just so that they could make some extra money. Well, the Uttar Pradesh police has taken very strict cognizance of our investigation. A probe has started. We had officials of the UP police at our office asking for CDs. In the meanwhile, just by looking at what we put out on TV, they've already suspended the members of the Uttar Pradesh anti-Romeo squad who were exposed by India Today. Here's the story.
It's a massive India Today impact. Heads have begun to roll after India Today exposed how some corrupt UP policemen under the garb of anti-Romeo squads were taking money to put innocent people in jail. Within hours of the expose, Onkar Nath Pandey, the in charge of anti-Romeo squads in Meerut's TP Nagar, was suspended. Onkar Nath was caught in a sting operation conspiring against the innocents.
इस टाइप का है, अब वो सज्जन है ज़्यादा या वैसा?
लड़का शरीफ है, उसको कोई क्रिमिनल रिकॉर्ड तो नहीं है, तो चाहे कट्टा लगा के अंदर करवा दो, क्या दिक्कत है?
जिससे हमें तो भाई जो मिलेगा उसी को लगा दूँ,
वो आप देख लेना। अच्छा, इसके लिए बिल्कुल फ्रैंक होकर आवाज़ बताना, कोई मुझे मत बीच में रखना है, किसी और को बीच में रखना। क्या कह दूँ उससे, क्या कह दूँ, क्या सेवा?
50 तो होगी।
50 क्या? 50,000? लेकिन 50,000 में क्या होगा ये बताओ?
जेल भेज देंगे इसको।
उस पर तत्काल उप निरीक्षक विनीत वर्मा को निलंबित कर दिया गया है। उसकी जांच पुलिस अधीक्षक ग्रामीण के द्वारा की जा रही है। जो भी तथ्य निकल के आएंगे उसके आधार पर कार्रवाई उनके विरुद्ध की जाएगी।
आपके यहाँ से हमको जैसे ही अनएडिटेड इसकी सीडी मिलेगी, हम उस पर पूरी जांच कंप्लीट करके उनके विरुद्ध और कड़ी कार्रवाई करेंगे।
Uttar Pradesh's Director General of Police, Sulkhan Singh, has sought preliminary probe report from top cops of Agra and Meerut on India Today's sting operation.
प्रारंभिक जांच इस संबंध में प्राप्त कर ली गई है, जिसको भी डीजीपी मुख्यालय भेज दिया गया है।
Taking cognizance of the expose, the DGP's office has asked India Today for a copy of the sting operation. While UP Minister Shrikant Sharma lauded India Today's expose and assured tough action, Congress leader dubbed the UP government a farce.
आपने जिस तरह से स्टिंग दिखाया है, अच्छी बात है। ये लोगों को हम लोग एक इन्वेस्टिगेशन भी करेंगे और ऐसे लोगों के खिलाफ कार्रवाई करेंगे।
बेसिकली एंटी रोमियोज है, वो कह रहे पैसे दे दो, हम आपको फ्रेम कर दें। पुलिस वाले भी इन्वॉल्व।
अब यूपी में कौन कौन नकली है ये अंदाजा लगाना मुश्किल है।
सर, आपको लगता है कि पूरी सरकार ही नकली है?
और क्या?
The anti-Romeo squads were set up to protect women from sexual harassment at public spaces. Now they pose a challenge for the Yogi Adityanath government. With India Today's special investigation team, Bureau Report, India Today.
India Today, the channel of real impact. This is where we're ending tonight's newsroom. I look forward to seeing you at 10 p.m. tomorrow evening with another action-packed edition of the newsroom. Till then, from all of us here, goodbye, good night.